Asempa FM, all talk all day. Ekosiisen dwumedi no asugusu a wutie discussion segment no na yede ebrewi said American can ye share name say Honorable Richard Achampon ba kan ye ho so far untimi ema medri but the Honorable Pius Enam Hajide ewa ha or your former Deputy Information Minister and any if I don't call Youth and Sport Ministry honso wa Deputy Minister ewo ho eda. Enti yenyina ye hwe nim se in the new government and now we put it together no adom ebetone so na wasan so anya another appointment to which ministry I don't know but yeah bon pie say obeka appointees no anase meboa honorable
na obi ade na wadwen co ministry
o say
ade na wadwen co ministry say nya ministry nkwa na ho ana
okay yeah, so there are other in the ministries so on department agencies ne way under ministries ne so in the
obehwe krana agency no krano adwuma kra wo ho
yes ministry yeah that's true because we MD of ECG, for example. I'll be glad. What that crowd, you know, and easy, sir. But young share, me will follow conversation around ENRA reporter, media, and intercept here, and let's explain, sir, on the committee. You know, your minority and majority members into NDC members of parliament and MPP members of parliament form a committee, you know. So omuria committee ne di omo report edema speaker no early at the plenary na members decide whether to approve or disapprove of any nominee. But at the committee level, there's no vote meboa.
Yeah, Obi, yes, intiasia me enya enono. Na miti enra, nyumremo hobe around the same time hona.
Yes.
Me yet titi hu be say yes committee are rejecting nominations ni bi na meeting e ni bi na afina makuma ya ayewe kakra echire no me benyanti asese inaccurate reportage and wrong choice of words say yabeka say committee no are reject obi.
Enye committee
no reject obi. In fact, committee no are recommended nipa beye 24. But 21 no, the recommendation was by consensus.
Good.
Just say omunyina adwene ekopenkro.
Say we mu de
omuko.
Okay.
Now the practice in parliament say nyamiadum wetin be miso mafe mu pen.
Yeah.
And my knowledge of the process ni say normally no say committee recommended by consensus sir. Eko plenary enusu yetumi gitumu consensus yentai entoaba ewo nia dodo na ya recommended by consensus no uko plenary yentai entoaba ne mumu se committee no recommended se yese ubedi minister ne mumu eyeba majority decision ehonu by practice no ye title uswaba entino from storia war joy online ye attributed to the chairman of the vetting committee no enu ne ma makuma etom yem say
okay
the committee rather recommended persons for consideration for confirmation by the plenary nemumu 21 no consensus ena 3b by majority decision say dodo na etuma womu se omu su fata se omu betumi di minister amani yeye nemumu kitwe bi wo ho anka omu nya ya anka ya nya ne sa nti it is a recommendation by majority na hokra ne ma makuma tom yema midi tutu and I'll come to Minya Samijan for interview. Oh, yeah. Misusu say kasa ne wo ho a kasa ne bi one can ye any na say for now deal with that one in due course. But mami areshemu kakra say e kire say ebia binum kura free ndisi mukura to aba edima nkofo na ye ka say omukura say no misreportage by said they were rejected. They were recommended but by majority. Just say dom kuma BC anka omunya ya omu de omadwin mu no any kwase omu say omu ministers. But omu dom kuma.
Yeah.
But check the composition of the vetting committee.
Of the vetting committee.
Which tells you say adie no ebia na ebinum kra free NDC mukra na tuma omu. Which gives me hope say to needing. And even then, the report, as I understand it, is yet to go from the committee to the speaker, and for that matter, plenary.
To the plenary.
And immediately, I'm trying the official report here. About do speaker no you call plenary. Okay. Because it might as well be said. Ni ebinumu ke krano committee no ebe wie na djuma omo be prepare o report no krano. Ebia na obinumu kra no omadwen sakra omo che omadwen kra sakra na se na nipa na odi information ni nyina ba ye kra no ebia na wonte ase enti no I am waiting for the official report, but be that as it may ni aya tete krampo no se enu ne ko plenary no kra na, then it means that ye ka say the use of the word say ye reject obi no rather misleading, and in fact a plain wrongful wrong. Say you use word and say yes, committee no I reject you. To be a kind of comment on him. Now
you can say minority members no on the committee no omo decided so be reject obi, right?
Now omododo is saying
no, say at the committee level.
Na make no. Omododo is saying say at the 26 member committee.
Yeah, 26. I think 13 12.
13.
13.
And
okay.
2 of New Year and a chairman no be count.
Yeah.
And by their own precedence, no chairman also to be. And you know, strictly speaking, now 13.
Yeah.
And if somebody is recommended by majority decision, it's just say 13 bill.
Okay.
What's that say? It's just say more than, and I'm quoting the words as used by the chairperson of the vetting committee himself, the appointments committee himself. Said they were recommended by majority decision. It's just say ebia na NDC for ebia 2 pe. And I can say, yeah, and I do na aka ni nyina 11 ni nyina so a 2 man or more. And can be 24 tour. Still, that is by majority decision.
Yeah.
So that is how it will be reported. Ebi so na a NDC ni ba coupe and a 2 can MP before the no a 14 12 and no so a by majority decision. Whatever it is, the ordinary understanding that I am getting is that it just say MPP for nyina tuma sa yen 3 appointees ni nyina e kire say NDC for ni bi kra etu ema wo mo enu ntina etumi nya majority decision. And for me, this is a deviation from the excessive partisan attitude here and approach here. Mr. Sosemi Nuasa Mijemfi and the NDC by their release is suggesting say the appointments committee should use. And I think that is the danger to our democracy. Sebi, in the parliament, Nanka Sebi, and yes, NDC for national, functional national executive, and national, and I say any arm of the NDC. And ebe control, and I say be chre near and come ye members of parliament in here. How about the wish of the millions of Ghanaians who voted for their members of parliament? Yet to aba edima ye members of parliament because ye wo ejidebi ewo wo mumu se nkrofo yi betumi akwa akolidi ye constituency no edima yen. So why would it now be for a political party to be wanting to tell the members of parliament how they must conduct the important business of vetting? And ye be a vetting ye MP before na vetting o manase Ghana for na vetting o. These people, they are Ghanaians who were appointed, who share criteria for eligibility to become a minister. She knew what it said was a MPP. And we have precedents in this country. Nkrofobi from another political party cry to me ma omobeye ministers pen. Parkwesi ndum no MPP ni. Debi. But obeye a minister. And if you are comparing or if you are analyzing or if you are discussing an appointee's nomination, you don't do that with recourse to party Ben or Fremo. So for the National Executive Committee or for an arm of the NDC to put on his agenda, say vetting, what direction are we giving to our members of parliament? No, I feel say it is an attempt to overly politicize the workings of the appointments committee and by extension, and it is dangerous for our politics. And I want to suggest strongly to the MPs, let them be led by their conscience and not by the dictates of political party. But I'm surprised, this is the same party. Nanu ya yekoto aba omusi yenja obi anontu na adwene. Nanu ya yekoto speaker aba.
Speaker de no.
NDC for kra na si yenja obi anontu na adwene. Na ade se do vet ni de NDC no person on kire nia nka omunye. Enu de on NDC for nja wo mo MPs no munche o madwene. And I think it is an indictment on the NDC members of parliament. Say their national officers will be coming out to speak in the manner in which I heard my brother speaking and express serious reservations about Womuankasa ability to decide for themselves.
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
And that Womu, for instance, Obo nominee Bakubi didn't say, Ena Oma NDC fono, Womu NDC fono, Ena Yen NDC fono. But people, we must understand, say, Minister no kwakwe ne juma no, wonye juma ma MPP ana say NDC o, wonye juma ma Ghana for. And that stark and extreme political partisan divide bianca sisi na wo say etumi di bana yehu omu say MPP na yehu say NDC no eno so free fa. Where is that coming from? I am very meeting interview. I was very, very scandalous. I'm like, what is this? How baby a democracy kwakodu ni? Says sisi no ye nominating minister na or coveting na NDC executives so and I say party executives share wo mu headquarters, then they decide that asimesi de yema nko obinti de yema njina. Is that how we are going to end it? What is the essence of the vetting? The vetting no ucha upa share constitution mo the vetting nienti a wo say ye vetting no clearly stated say ye be establish obi eligibility and eligibility criteria so constitution define unyega na ne obetime the minister.
Asempa FM.
Untumi nye member of parliament obetime the minister.
Dabe.
Unye of sound mind. So all those ones ewo ho. Until your eligibility no ewo ho. Until uye vetting and uye appointments committee a wajuma edika no to establish the eligibility. Na nye tititi why na ye ka chance si ase na onye eligible to become a minister. That argument has not been made. Some also argue, say, the constitution talks about capacity. And let us establish the capacity. And ukrampono a stretch understanding. Me in reading the constitution, where the capacity argument comes from, because capacity there is subjective matter. Me ba when him say who bet me who say me very capable. Obifu also be who say me capable.
Yeah.
Because the standards of measurement, very, very, very subjective. There's no objectivity in that determination. Because what's the standard benchmark are we using? Name young farmer say, generally, we can establish a certain way. You cannot cry. You to say, okay, there are some basics to establish capacity.
NDC for statement, no, must say. The meeting discussed, among other things, the ongoing vetting of ministerial nominees and urged the NDC Parliamentary Caucus to be firm and resolute in their duties on the appointment committee. It urged them to reject insincere apologies rendered by some of the nominees at the vetting committee sittings and hold them responsible for their actions and or statement which violate their obligations imposed on public office holders by the 1992 Constitution.
And I'm say, in the first place,
Yeah.
the minister nominees beko party B, opposition party B, national executive meeting. Now you discuss SMSC was a fata. That's what they are saying. Said they discuss those things at their meetings. That's what the statement says. I say enukra by itself, that practice by itself is problematic. That is the very first step to take to polarize and divide this country. This party will not be governed along those divisive lines. Say where your NDC minister, where your MPP minister. No, these are Ghanaian ministers.
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
And you know the processes of vetting, it is nowhere. Sir NDC for meeting say a meeting of the nominees. No, it is alien to any practice in this country. Legally speaking, or even precedents, in my mind, meaning that say, yes, vetting na functional executive, and I say national executive, so review of the vetting, no baby fufro. And to have the audacity to even pen it on paper and release it, suggesting to people say they should reject based on, in their view, insincere apologies. But you don't know say we need apology na insincere. Parliament is a house of records. Obi say, oh, I'm sorry. We no man can hear. And in the nimu a odi kan asem ne ma omo say insincere and I say brofo na no kan no. And until what is the basis? How are we able to discuss say okay, many opinion fifi kwete ni apology to the appointments committee when he was being vetted no. A DM benchmark na you use so to me decide say no yes sincere. Ena obi die enye die insincere. These attempts say, and I said it from the very beginning say we must say we have a very sharply divided parliament. NDC for 137 and MPP plus
Independent
138.
Yes.
The sense that some of us started gathering was that we will be destructive to the cause of Ghana's development. But the people of Ghana are watching. Today you may have 137. But in any case, you are in court. Saying, yen enkase abanukrano, obien wini inti yen tubium, na you feel say yetwa, unipa no betumi wini. With even the 137 that you are assuming, with these precedents that you are setting, God forbid, Nyamin Pengu there. But yen fun say for just encourage the thought. Say Supreme Court beka say yen to abanibium.
Asempa FM.
Na say yetumpo Nyamin Pengu, it will not happen anyways. Perish the thought. Na say John Mahama nebeye president ya. Na MPP for 138 and amumo 137. With this attitude. Say MPP for so epese omo yesa. Ume rembo man.
Ekosiisen Asempa FM.
The danger in taking these matters before a party national executive for consideration, no. And then he said they are viewing these matters, they are discussing it with their parochial partisan ambition of say the next time I beto abano Ghana for beto amayin. One of the weapons for them is to therefore let's make it difficult for them. Let's make it difficult for them. I'm saying that it's dangerous for our democracy. Your best one will say they should continue to or begin to have some respect for their own members of parliament and believe say omobetumia yenia womakumemu eni omunyansamo eni emranomo no ese fatase omunye. Now, can you imagine some of the reasons that have been given? Ubi say, are you a shareholder of a company? Ubisano straight question say, are you a shareholder of a company? Nippon said there be me shareholder. We say, so say he was not forthcoming with all the information because we insist say ni yiri ni nua ebi eka ho Now, but that is not what you ask the person. Say, unia na say uyiri kan. That's not what you ask the person. Ubi say na say onu ankasa no your shareholder na. Osi be shareholder. Baby o ye shareholder no. O kan say enunu de me ye shareholder. Na mo me ye director. Enti no say day-to-day administration decision be kwa ho a. Enye shareholders na take day-to-day administration decisions. Eye directors na ye sade no. Enti bibi mpo na munti ase a. Ende mun bisa director for no. Anas nye sanet ye. We mo si muti kwa pai. Me ba no be frame me say. You see that's why ubisa me kram bisa o say enti no. Adenti na ministry nkwa. Ye bi no mo no ye be sum ye man. Na information ministry ni ame hu ne say wa ye djuma wo hopen no. Too many people begin to hate you for nothing. Say we ye djuma. Especially from the NDC stock. We ye MPP ni na we ye djuma papa the way I was say we ye djuma at the information ministry on be for whole time. Because what are you doing? You are explaining government policies and projects. And the amount for nam we djuma ntino amount for 80 free research as more. Amount for 80 planting for food and jobs, nothing more. Say problem be bana say you try and trouble 2 minister be so. We djuma ne say ube manko for be tia se enye sanetie. But na ebinumu susu say oh ye try and no tumu ye misinformation in asifo na ebema ebufuo ntino nkofo be to abaman. So if you come and you are explaining these things and you are giving education and people are understanding the importance of the policies you are buying here now, who say NDC for no, they will be your best friend. And I can cite myself. Wafa niye femu atem didie threats. These are sacrifices because look, we are doing the state conversation, state communication. Uti ubebi ufu say if you are denigrating Ghana and you are denigrating President Otia Kunyasu say no, uti usu say uye politics because enu nebema ebia obia watu abamasa nipa no. For the next elections, no on 2 man.
Mr. Mami 2 minutes. Mami share the Ekosiisen Parliament. Emra Sisia. Mini apaka Wilson wa homano paka na oteden.
Yamnad mo di mo na uza.
Fantastic. Yenhu ye papa. Parliament Sisia.
That's correct. More Parliament.
Fantastic. What's happening? Then the Ekoso our Parliament Sisia as we speak.
Okay, so after 3 weeks break, a year secret Parliament, Album Babin. Members of Parliament here. Year retesting no. A year put together MPs and parliamentary service workers. A year 550 members. Nipa 12 and a tested positive for COVID-19 virus. I don't know. Or say if it's maybe also may be able to ensure say the safety and the staff of Parliament or mobile terminal on bearing now. He then proceeded to say on the 9th of March, the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Kufuor, will be addressing the nation on the state of our nation. It's our Parliament now after the state of the nation of Adababetigan. Again, on the 12th of March, a year next week Friday, and a budget presentation.
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
Now, I know at the concerns by Member of Parliament for Northern constituency, some located at Blackburn. Still now almost a tier committees. You see, I come to the business committee and vetting committee. All the other standing committees, and it is the kind budget next week Friday. There wouldn't be any committee in place to peruse the budget because the tradition is there. So the kind budget now, finance committee, extra finance aspect, and before all the others, only now share the various aspects of the budget. No my year, or my submit, no my approve. Now, see, committees in any human. Then are they going to peruse the budget? Now, on my provision separately. Now, we the majority leaders, the chairman, about to pass there. Well, as a stance, Parliament, imagine say, the standing orders here, to see, I hear that. my modification kaka the biaka or my be frame. Now new standing orders no basically place by July and I say June no baby. And it I was still some understanding. Say the current standing orders no use na
Ekosiisen
the
on
current
Asempa
committees na no the new ones who have come no committees and so. Well, agreement I said anye juma ho. Said they will meet at leader. Now for all discussing issues.
Asempa
Then
FM.
it came to the report of the appointment committee. Now Joe White, Emma Parliament, etc. The first part of the report is ready. It's only, but then they didn't go into the details of the report. Parliament said, "I'm the more china, almost china and number 4, details of the report, I'm the more china." Now, you say a year for your punk from a year, maybe Kumsin, and if we have told our great minister designate, only you know, the minority on the vetting committee, and support from approval. And you know, the Yamia Demochino back, number 10 state. Now, share the details of the report are. Then they will proceed to vote and decide the fate of these members of parliament on appointment, and go through.
And the same will be for Omo Fair or Modi.
And the same will be for the because they are asking them to provide further and better particulars.
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
Information into a channel. As at one, in fact, let me state there, and open cameras to send a vetting committee on the Jumano. On the Shomo Kukwem, nothing, the summer, almost from a nominees, or some bad then they will factor that into their report. And by the second part of the appointment committee's report, in the National Parliament, and then they will take a decision from that. But for now, the enemy said the first part, I already, it involves the result concern. And also a free accord that great minister designate.
Paka, my nyaya na 2 hour juma so bibia ne yebese about hobby. Why? Yeah, that's a pa inti yenua Paka Wilson and Mote Nenkano reporting live from the Parliament of Ghana. Inti at least confirmation of what I told you earlier. So, next week, Tuesday, Adea Omanpenyi beko Parliament the State of the Nation's address akwa trigger. Uwia na afe ni fiada enso no finance minister and now said the president representative at that ministry and so the budget statement ebeko enti yebehwe said the nioma ABC ako the appointments committee of parliament in so early one report before the house we are told say ochana and plenary ebeko report nim na afi anamo also omutu no omotumi etu obekai nso some of the nominees approval was deferred into omono will be sitting with the committee in camera na information committee ni here omonsa ka then decisions will be taken on them in the ebesha said you may see ako Pius, that's where we are from Parliament of Ghana.
Yeah, you better mean
Paka
Wilson I say. Na se na meka no me di manukra ba we yansa. And it's a media vetting across this year I have been impressed with Sena vetting committee ayomajuma where they have been very critical. They have asked some relevant questions. Very, very impressed with the manner in which the chairman of the appointments committee Nankasanso we have been monitoring vettings and we have seen the conduct of members of chairpersons of the appointments committee. But we dear say both the questions and the answers research and they are asking relevant questions and people are also giving the relevant responses. GD Ameme appointments committee no. Misusu said they shouldn't fall for pressures from any quarter. be they from their various political parties. One more entuasu ye womajuma and be led only by their sacred oath, the constitution, and the standing order of parliament. Na se ebia yebeka se obidie woye arrogant ya. Pacho poto ka se twika se mukra kan sen. Ahomaso. Enu no so no efrihi. Eye wan adwene. Edie ne ma wo hu se obi ahomaso. Obi kra tumi hu obi na tade shemu o se oya ahomaso. One actually say questions here. MPs ni be beside. Honorable Muntaka, for instance. Honorable majority leader, minority leader, Honorable Haruna. Honorable Samson Ahi, and I say why? Why nature say, one no say na obisa ne question, obi ntini fe hunu susu say, one so waya homaso. Obiani ebia se na oye ni na defa. Obi wo ha, oni udi nkomokra na, obi tinchenko susu say ebia mukuntokwa. Nani wasro. And the worker say we so no waba parliament no. Nani was. If we don't check some of these things, no, we will set some really dangerous precedents here. Discretion here, yebe abuse, sa power no, we krama. Obi abetumi ape excuse be. Say ebia mini secondary school time na ye wo problem be nti no. Uba vetia na media share say ukra no me hu anima wo no unfa money nche enti no we arrogant and I say wo no ukasa dindin dodo enti empaso we no eyade are those the things that or say you share. And if you say somebody is arrogant, I mean tiasie, you have to give us the details of arrogance na okano na yentiasie say oh asimesi the ni we nti but say in this country krana ye obi a bold ne or assertive onu susu say nia all kano right now person o intimidating no now standing up to you pe o say arrogant enu no so e dey no na obi some direct question you are no factually correct na ma feature mo twantro moment to so say you suspect say he was not forthcoming with all the information relative to question amobisa no you asked him the person a direct question and he gave you an answer and nothing ameno I cannot speak for everybody else. But Majimo, and somebody was also sharing that with me, and I agree. Say, Ejuma, Kwejo, any Ministry of Information, ye nina kamwa ya ye. Through time wa ye campaign na COVID ba ye. And lastly, na Supreme Court wa de ya yes ambo ni din say waka spokesperson ejuma wa ya wa church mo microphone tiase ananka misinformation ni propaganda na ebinu edi namechire ye church mu nyina no ya ema ya odie bi ewo ebinu mu emu se na ya di kra obi ti se kwadwo na ni nkrofo yi omo hwia anwago ye gare mu nti yeso ye twa omaso the appointments committee cannot be turned into a vendetta platform. Say only will be a problem. Na say uf susu say ni conduct a juma waye may have accounted to your abysmal performance in an election sentino. Usuwenya kwenya say ube show no. That cannot be the thinking behind the establishment constitutionally of an appointments committee. The appointments committee has been guided by the law as to what they must look out for. And to know they should not fall for any pressure from any quarter. Say, you see, National Executive Committee, and they are insisting, say, look, when we are doing the interview, okay, say, if we approve their ministers now, we have compromised our own position, and to know we should not approve their ministers. Nti minister why you planting for food and jobs and ne wama eduane bu no o se wonye dwuma nti no nam say you want to make a political statement nti no you are going to deny the people of Ghana obi a wotumi leading a ye ene ye to me through the vehicle of planting for food and jobs. You have seen where our agri sector today is. We see there be fine no tunche na ye konka ebia obi temperament wansem na obi ti say na ye wo covid mu say if you see Obia air pre-vaccine, you need your health minister on his desk. Obeye Jumatama, or your president's representative at the ministry. na I mean, can't you say impo MPP no na mumpa? How about the ordinary Ghanaians who should have somebody working for them to get their vaccines? Say, and no so no nam amanyo sementino and no Ghana for vaccination can fire home. And the health minister Mpono without any way be serious infraction, constitutional infraction be yet to make us say and I say we be say oh you see something monument serious infraction be we see we are putting the process no on hold be answer. I mean you can see clearly say the minority NDC members are being pressured by their partisan leadership. Omumo hono, they are the property of Ghana. Ghana for Entia, General Secretary Aketua. General Secretary said in Ketia. Ghana for Entia Nekao. Communications Officer Sami Jemfi, Ghana for Entia Nekao. And to Omujuma Omo Yano. Strictly to the benefit of a partisan parochial NDC interest. But member of parliament, no, they are supposed to live above the partisan divide. And they should not fall for the pressure of their national leadership. And the threat, they are telling the NDC MPs, say, the national executive, no, which is the second, according to him, the second highest decision making body. Before Muhajani, meet you on interview, no. You see the level of intimidation, any pressure on Modisi almost. So, yes, there, and the not party, no, ever found Muhajani, say, Ubiko, Wukwa.
Yeah, but they went to parliament on the ticket of the party. The party sponsored them to go there.
And Tinomuka party, Nejuma. And until Amuko Parliament, until I Ghana for I been MPP for, been CPP for, yet two Mukaso Muko NDC for Juma, and you Ghana Juma. Because party no sponsor when I war party's ticket into Koha, Koye NDC Juma, and no Muko Parliament. That's not my understanding. And if that is the understanding and the approach of the NDC, say Nam say he was sponsored by the MPP, and then it is the state of Ghana that is sponsoring them. They are members of Parliament of Ghana, not of the NDC. NDC for the Tiomuka, so they should not go to the pressures of statements and threats from the highest decision-making body or the second highest decision-making body. No, they took a solemn oath to the people of Ghana. And no mufa interest no munye juma na ne omusu so se omakume mo enu na ye ade papa na e wo se ye no yenye indeed. And of course if obi improve na eligibility obi improve ni capabilities and there's a third angle bi so a ye de ka ho se saade no amba na se honestly you bring a recommendation say oh nipa no ye nji ntumu a the people of Ghana will understand, including MPP for cry. But the reasons are more made here. It is veiled. You will see clearly, say it is a political calculation. A political. It has nothing to do with the vexed issues of the duties of the appointments committee. And media, I continue to say, I have confidence in men and women of conscience in parliament, even on the ticket of the NDC. Say, here say you to about plenary crana. Omuntu no craba. No crane ni say, Kujo upon kroma. Ye ni vetting. And you know, the verdict is out there. The jury is out there. Obi en hubi. A Greek minister, the same. Ye mami hawa kumsi. Ye hu ejuma wa ye under the SDI. And you who the performance at the vetting. Master on social crime, sometimes the best student who to make on social crime, you may have a bad day. That's why as a teacher, every modern day we are moving towards cumulative assessment. Na no dear no na dia kind na dia no na to mean a fair representation. Until just one day, ebia obi benya bad day no. Udi no kwa assessment it may be unfair. Until cumulatively no. Nipa no enye ne edi kan wako veti imponie. Waye jumanso the brebi, we must see the outputs. Ade enye na persona how come say can asemi. Na perso cumulatively. Ade ambulances na ye can be ni ho. Warehouses ni hu. Hospital beds no ni ho. The development authorities ni no. We see them, the roads that are being constructed and all that, we see it. So why can't we factor all of that into a cumulative assessment? Na say ebia one particular day bia ebia yebisa no question baako ebia one take question ni yente no, the answer may not be satisfactory to you until wojina no kwan so say even though he qualifies as under the constitution say or you're eligible, even though he has demonstrated competence, who say he has not satisfied you, say baby I didn't know jumano or tiasie papa inteno a woman in your way. I mean, I think that we are stretching this once, and it will be creating a dangerous precedence in the future. Now obi minia okuje to a black one day after several years saying this baby need power. Not ye appointing her. Then we will go back and be saying, say, oh no, say now when we think say we are vindictive, and we will not pass you. Would they allow for such things? Because if you say will be arrogant, yeah, and they'll be supposed to make us say we are vindictive.
Few messages, Pius. Now what was my Obi? When I continue to say the NDC is one of the major challenges of Ghana, some do not understand. How could a whole political party caution their members on the vetting committee to strive to disqualify nominees, and their reasons born out of vindictiveness? By the way, is it a vetting or an inquisition? Well, let them set the precedent. Go for the verse and why. Sampine Edie Inie. This one from Fred Agbenyo. Fred Agbenyo says, Obi, it is so annoying and irritating when you hear our colleagues on the other side calling for patriotism and nationalism anytime their backs are against the wall. Do they consider us as stakeholders in this Ghana agenda? They should look back and see how they have treated us anytime they have power. You reap what you sow. Fred Agbenyo Edie Eni. Good afternoon, Obi. You see the hypocrisy and the propaganda of Honorable Pius? Did I hear him say he was scandalized hearing the views that Sami shared on your show? Interesting. Most of us are equally scandalized and disappointed to be hearing him trying to defend and make a case for the abysmal performance of the I am not aware ministers and the answers given by most of the appointees to run away from providing accountability for their stewardship of the last 4 years. Propaganda, mischief, and misinformation by those in government will no more be tolerated by we Ghanaians, just as Honorable Pius is doing this afternoon. Let him understand that the NDC does not threaten its MPs. Rather, it's his party that has taken threatening as its game changer to suppress free speech. Thank you, Paul De Suso. Julius Afedi, was so many. It's funny that it's only NDC MPs who think the day-to-day running of a business rests with shareholders. This got me asking, who passed the Companies Act? And what did the Act say about the day-to-day running of a business? I'm also shocked they even cited Kojo Opon Nkrumah for arrogance. Obi, please, what is the benchmark or the standard set for arrogance? Who determines who is arrogant and is being arrogant a crime? Anyways, what are we expecting from people who do not recognize Nana as president, yet are vetting his ministers? Are they not confused? Ghanaians are watching. Julius Afedi Somenya. Alhaji Hamza in Pig Farm says, Obi, I totally agree with Sami Jemfi that the minority should not take part in approving the defense minister designate. In fact, he has a lot to answer to Ghanaians. under his watch, okay, soldiers are now made to guard public officers, which shouldn't be the case. Soldiers were used all over the place during the elections to allegedly beat and kill some people, and up to date, no one has been held responsible for that. What kind of country are we building at all? Alhaji Hamza, Pig Farm. Obi, tell Honorable Pius that the Haruna Idrisu I know will never allow the minority to reject any nominee without any cause. Tell him that the minority know what they are doing, so he should allow them to do what is best to them. Kudos to my able minority. Sir Prince Israel Suano. Obi, if the reasons given by the minority is anything to go by, then about 99.99% of the NDC would not have been nowhere near ministerial positions, because the cotton wool under their butts can cause and inflame the whole world to burn into ashes, because they are and were worse than the reasons given for the rejection of the current nominees. Anyway, no matter how fat the bat might grow, it can never choke the peng peng peng. Okay, Pythagoras. Proverbs in the door, so I perfofro neja idea or deba any. I wish you could interview Hannah BC on her comment on the COVID-19 vaccines. Today, former President Mahama has gone for his job. Will she still ask her supporters not to take it? Nanampon sabedi akon edia ode abreye enie. Obi, do you know Betty Mould Idrisu? That woman is verbose, speaks the Queen's English more than the Queen of England. Here is one of her receipts. Shall we add the rest? And a snapshot of a story which says, blame Betty for Woyomi scandal, judgment debt report. He again says, the job they grant, we are talking competence, as she performed very well at special development initiatives. So will she perform at the fisheries and aquaculture development. Honorable Mavis Hawakumsin, we are solidly behind you. Samuel, Brian, Boabin, Edie Eni. Obi, doesn't the president have the veto power to push all these three ministers through regardless of the minority's intentions, even if Parliament votes against them? Because the NDC are only being personal and partisan. Nana one, Ewo, Kaswa, and Odiwe Abraying. Good evening, Obi. Tell, because his assertion of the chairperson voting as a panel member is a fallacy. Even if he is designated, he shall reject him. No incompetence. Ghanaians deserve better, says Shak. Okay, I did not really get the message well. There is one here which says, Obi, please wish Mr. Lord Owari of JL Properties a very big happy birthday for me. This from Chairman Atolinsi and Seke Seke to you, Lord Owari of JL Properties. Happy birthday to you. Pius, any other business now? Sorry.
Oh, Nanka, Musi Yansan discussing the Judicial Service for Enkratano, any the reactions that came with their press release. But I think even monitoring Krano, the general sense I get is that a majority of the people of Ghana do not see the Judicial Service for letters say nobody should comment or criticize them even. I think they have even encouraged, if you read the relevant portions of their statement here, for instance, paragraph 15, they have encouraged, criticize you, just that we should do that within the remits of the law. Na Minya Samijan Fika Samoka say, Mr. Lawyer Eka said the laws were advised by the thinking, yen understanding of the law no generally no fem enti no obi betumi adada Ghana for sa ndada no ebetumi ama ebufuo bi aba ewo Ghana for mu, and he sought to dispute that. But you see, adeno ye ya moma yen kanokre obi Supreme Court case ya ye adentina ye wia parties no mienu principally ye ma wo mo platform say nia yaka ewo court no wo mo sancheche mu na yentiase adentra. And why do they not? Because adeno your life will be a share. So if that there was yetiase say okay bibia etume koso ewo on the floor of the house, we are all able to understand it the way it ought to be understood. Yeah. And then why do we have to go through that exercise of going through the round of explaining it all over again? I think that practice inherently suggests to me, say, in Penyufona Kasa, including NDC for National Executives or General Secretary, Debbie Ojina, microphone in chain, now Omuchechemono. They admit, say, Nemini Bia Ekosu or court no. Duduona no ebiana ntiasie no na yenya ne papa enteno yemma ya kwenya na breaking it down anambwa. So why today all of a sudden that position that by their own conduct they have upheld, which is that we may not all of us have largely no legal background and I say appreciation of the legalities need the law no yenyendru hoye by their own conduct. Even in this ongoing Supreme Court petition, by their own conduct, they have upheld that. No? And then they say a reference to that same position that they have upheld by their own conduct. No? A reference to that position is a attempt Didi Magana for. Muma yen kanokre. Now, a woman say, look, uko countries like the UK and Koa, obviously they don't have contempt laws anymore, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, but we will get there eventually. And you do away. And in the meantime, no, say impo emrano na mo pese yensi sadia. Then the argument should be say instead of intimidating and directing your members of parliament to vote against nominations here, why is the NDC not suggesting to their members of parliament say munshana emrano yensi samrano? But for as long as the law is there, the law has to be respected. And if the judicial service comes to say, let's operate within the laws. And I find some of the reactions rather, we have to, again, upon maybe under advisement, we should have taken our time to actually have understood the statement, and we were emotional. And some groupings, Mr. Sami Jemfi tried to make reference to. Honestly speaking, I thought that their reaction was overboard. Ushe in Semnibia, my senior uncle and somebody I respect, and I've come to, because Ebia Maye Juma or Minister of Information Penteno, many journalists for no abeyese Bafani Fem. Name Mumu, as I see my senior brother to say Kwesi Pratt. Some of the comments, no, at an event organized by the GJA, no, Mr. Susu say, we overstretched the matter, we may have gone a little overboard. We should not create a mountain out of a molehill, and we should not also create a storm in a teacup. And let's not read meanings that are not on the paper. In the statement of the judicial service, let's not read meanings into it. For me, no, it was a fair admonishment. Or more admonishing fairly. We have to avert our minds to the law. Mankind statement, say, let's not criticize the justices. But indeed, and in fact, so be a comment here, the person himself goes back to the courts to apologize and retract. Now, Mima publish the earlier statement that was made, which is now retracted. Retraction, is it not taking the thing out of the system? So if the judicial service says to you that, okay, those comments that may be in the system, no, munyana munye free wa. See, they are direct censorship. I don't think so. I think that we can still have a law-abiding country where we have a robust media that is very critical and they do their jobs without fear or favor, but they do it in a decent way. I think that decency is key. And freedom say and yet no freedom is absolute. Baby, I will freedom ending a hona obedience so a beginning. And you know, yes, there should not be any attempt to censor the media. I don't see that there's an attempt to censor the media. The media is free to even prefer their opinion if they choose to. But just that I have always advocated, say, we media nina who prefer opinion. My entire say who opinion no any fact no. But many a time we confuse the opinion with the facts. But you media ni obi, you are free to express your opinion as well. But that is different from the fact. And you know, let's not we know. And this is for again they want to take advantage of a problem that does not exist. It has fallen flat. The people are not even because Ghana phone him. Dodo Ghana phone him say all this talk about media freedom nina say for no a figment of the imagination of very few people. It's not true. You are a practitioner. You have interacted with several practitioners. You do your job without any fear or favor. Say because of Yahoo. Yes, there have been a few uncomfortable developments. Collectively, I condemn the unfortunate death of Ahmed Swali. Yakan any the threats that some of our colleagues have received. Yakan wasem. But that is the exception rather than the norm. The desire to let it look like it is rather the norm, and that muye free, muye mwejuma, debia muye very critical. You ask all the legitimate questions. You are the exceptions. No, rather we can only be fueled by motivations rather than being truthful and factual. And you know, obianka na kumanto niyem. Yen judgment ne ba.
Okay.
Wo adwenkyere bi ewo ho a obetumi akyere wadwene ne mumu ya endi judge for natem bu court ne nimtia na yemfa nkabo mu a yen wa. That's what we have. That's what makes us Ghanaians the envy of the whole world. No, let's keep that unity. Let's keep our unique identity and say yen dia ye dimra so ni na se for no yemfa sa de no enkunko yen na minsre members of parliament say ye koto aba anase ye adwuma mumma yendwene oman Ghana ho enkua enya dia wo say kodwu ye party ho say de na me national executives beka de na me party membership beka hono ya tra ho sisia no. We have a country to build. Let's come together and build a country. Na many afraid agbanyo that attitude is say yendia ye patriotism asem eni na say for it's marks of niana make us vindictiveness na yaudie bi ebinumu ntino. They are seeing the appointments for the vetting process as an opportunity to pay back. That cannot be it. Ntino politics mu ye winiwa yaudie be wo mu kakra, but it doesn't mean say you have to begin to act based on yaudie na wo mu. And Fred, Mr. I disagree with you, say we should stop talking about patriotism and all that. We should continue to talk about patriotism. Now, BC soldiers, anti-Dominic Nito, Obi 20th of Nami, a parliamentary candidate for my party in my constituency, and then Ketunov. Soldiers for the broomy on the day of elections. And it's obviously being seen that on elections day, ye on who soldier that, and the onu mumuna 2020, the first time October.
Ekosiisen
say you're involved in the processes of elections in this country. I'm not sure say ministers and Fibeka say who does say on elections day so just appear. Me say on elections day I was a parliamentary candidate even. So just be broom here police station back. Just because I was insisting on what I thought was the right thing, say no. I was insisting on it. No mobile. Tell you say me cause you confusion. And you know I mean, they carried me, put me in the van and took me away. The candidate in the elections, they mishandled me and so on. So it is not true say Seminu Samijemfi say who does say to aba na soldiers aba. Soldiers have always been in our elections here. They deploy them to maintain the peace. And so if one or two isolated incidents is aba, na say impo I don't know, but granted without admitting say incidents baku mienu bi aba ama soldier ni baku mienu bi akọ overboard. Woman misconduct your muha. Then you argue, say based on that, no, a minister should not be confirmed. Hey,
Pius Enam Hajide. Well, it's a good evening, Obi. The NDC is just trying to play to the gallery. In any case, the approval itself will be done on the floor of Parliament. My regards to Honorable Pius. This is from the quarters of Honorable Johnson Avulete, former Deputy Volta Regional Minister.
no.
Oh, okay. Okay. And you almost almost pa. Obi, some people are becoming unacceptably arrogant in this country. What is making the judicial service think that they are gods that we must worship? Why do they think they are above reproach and criticism? They have a responsibility to conduct a research to find out what Ghanaians think about them and their work. Fred Agbenyo comes back again with this one. Hey, Fred is the NDC is trying desperately hard to stir up baseless cacophony, just to appease their dispirited supporters. Reading the NDC's reasons for rejecting some of these nominees, they are laughable and smack of politics of deceit and deception. Farouk is in Tema with this one. Pius, my fancy, Yemreno Aso.
We wish
you well. Why?
I thank you.
And the good news, never know my attendance.
Now, Obi, answer on the happy birthday, Mammy.
Oh, yeah. Harold Boateng. What's your National Health Insurance?
Yes.
Authority.
Board manager. He's a deputy director there.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, so you packet.
Oh, say media. I have some very tight friends. OPK.
OPK, MP prior so.
Okay. Any speed. Yeah, Harold Boateng.
Oh, Harold Boateng.
In Nana University in Nasifo.
Okay.
We have kept a very strong relationship.
Oh, okay.
Mr.
Nice.
Yeah,
very necessary. Medasepa. And the Pius near Tenin Kano Enam Hajide, former Deputy Information Minister, former Deputy Youth and Sports Minister, and Motenin Kano. I would want to play for you this song and Muamudi mu birthday and including Harold Boateng and and Madame Sarah Agbenyo, into the wife of Fred Agbenyo and also Edina Woda. Sarah Agbenyo, happy birthday to you as well, and of course to a friend of this show, a regular listener of the show, Chris Nana Kwame of the Apostolic Empowerment Ministries. And a happy birthday to all of you. I leave you with Amachi Dede with Sufre Wenyame.
FM